People often say to me, Jim, the common thread through many of your ill-advised crusades is you think you have a solution, but it turns out there's no problem that demands that solution. Well, there may be some truth to that, but not tonight. I've got a solution to a big, fat American problem. We know virtually nothing about government and engagement. That's the problem. And the solution is in a committee on Beacon Hill in a bill mandating civics education in our schools. I know your kid went to Louisiana at her own expense to help rebuild a house, and your son is the president of the Model UN at his school. But they aren't the norm, friends. Here is the norm. According to the Annenberg report released a few years ago, less than a third of 8th graders could name the historical purpose of the Declaration of Independence. Really? Here's a hint, kids. It's the Declaration of, you ready? Independence. And that's not an aberration. Here's more evidence. Only a third of all Americans could name all 3 branches of government. Let me do the math for you. That means nearly 7 in 10 could not. And if you don't understand how government works, you're less likely to get engaged in what government does. And what do you end up with? Not much voting across the country, and partisan, vicious, mindless, endless, clueless gridlock in D.C. And by the way, this is not something new. In fact, it's a back-to-the-future kind of thing. The height of the Great Depression was also the height of civics education in Boston. Students learned the Constitution, the importance of voting, participating in the economy, and running for office. As James Pilch wrote in the Boston Globe, showing up at the polls was only part of it. But that emphasis on civics in school was nearly gone by the 1960s. So now the solution, or at least part of it, a bill in the state Senate, it's sponsored by the Committee on Ways and Means, would create a curriculum of civics education, which would teach those 8th graders the Declaration of Independence and other history, the 3 branches of federal and local government, current events, civil service, and more. Let's face it, American democracy is in a bit of a mess, so what are we waiting for?